Hello everyone. Today we are going to do our best to define it's complicated, the relationship status. Well, it can be best defined by the relationship between Elon Musk and Twitter. It's definitely complicated. Elon Musk recently acquired 9.2% stake in Twitter, spent nearly 2.5 to 2.7 billion dollars doing it. And that's not pocket change. That's a reasonable amount. Of course, it is something that Elon Musk can definitely afford. It is something that he has wanted to do. It is something wherein he wants to look more closely at microblogging platforms, not necessarily at Twitter, but microblogging and the concept of free speech. He has been an ardent promoter of free speech for a very long time. He has talked about Twitter, its bad policies, its bad practices, and the fact that it is hypocritical, the fact that it is double faced. And I think his coming onto Twitter, buying an equity in Twitter, is not really about setting Twitter right, but it is rather about looking at how free speech can be promoted in a much better manner. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about free speech in a little bit. But let me first talk about Twitter, the company, and the stock and everything. Well, Elon Musk bought equity and the stock popped. As expected, it popped nearly 25 to 30%. It is off of those highs. I'm calling them high, but in reality, Twitter has been struggling for the last quite some time. From a high of 80, it came down to a stock price of nearly 25, 26, which is where Elon Musk did most of his buying. It is right now trading, I think, somewhere around, while doing this session, it is trading at somewhere around 45 at this point of time, which is off of the high of around 50 that it reached when the Elon Musk announcement came out. Anyway, I think this announcement by itself and the fact that Elon Musk refused to join the Twitter board, okay, it has been announced and it has been talked about quite a bit. He has refused to join the Twitter board. The fact that all of this has happened, I don't think Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter stock should add anything to the stock price. I think Twitter stock in itself was struggling and it had a lot of scope to improve and a lot of scope to go up. So it might have popped, but that pop will see a baseline based purely on what Twitter can do, not related to Elon Musk. So those of us retail investors who got sucked into the news of Elon Musk making a purchase into Twitter, please help. That's not what you should be doing, because that adds nothing to Twitter as the platform. In fact, on the contrary, Elon Musk may actually come up with a competing free speech platform instead of Twitter, and really do something around that. That's really what he is capable of doing. I think you guys would remember that a few years back he talked about how he would take Tesla to private equity, and then of course did not go ahead. Of course, ended up paying fine for it as well. Anyway, he's a character, and that's why we all love him. That's why we all respect him, and that's why he's able to do what he does. That's why he's able to run the kind of organizations that he does, do the sort of innovations that he does. So back to free speech now. I think Elon Musk's point about free speech and the fact that Twitter is double-faced a lot of times is actually true. There is, and it's a known phenomena that most of the Twitter users, most of the Twitter organizers, most of the people that own Twitter, they come from a more liberal background. So Twitter always has a bias. And there is a definite requirement for a platform which is more free speech, which more trusts not in just the people who are sharing their ability to share the right thing, but also trust that the person who is reading it is discerning enough that they will read and they will make their choice of whether to trust it or whether to not trust it. I think that is where free speech really comes into equation, really comes into play, so that everybody has an equal platform to be able to talk, everybody has an equal platform to be able to share. What I would recommend, and something that I have been saying for years, is Twitter should definitely come up with a different policy for people with blue tick. I'm not talking about Elon Musk's idea of making Twitter a subscription platform and making a separate fees for the blue tick. I'm actually talking about Twitter coming with a methodology that says you get a blue tick not just because you're a celebrity, but if you have received a blue tick, you have a responsibility to put some kind of a suffix, some kind of a prefix before everything that you do, before every tweet that you do. That should tell people whether it's an opinion, whether it's a fact, whether it's a news, whether it's a gossip, whether it is a rumor, or whether it is pure play sarcasm. And that, I think, would go a long way in ensuring there is more transparency, in ensuring there is more that is available on the platform. Anybody that does not follow this should have their blue tick removed. That can definitely be done. That will definitely provide more focus. That definitely will go a long way in promoting free speech. Anyway, we'll keep watching, keep looking out for what Elon Musk does. I mean, he is a character. I'm sure there is more to this than just him taking equity. So keep watching for that, keep looking out for that. We will of course be looking out for it as well, and as and when something interesting comes up, we'll come back to you and try to inform you about what's going on. So with that, we come to an end of this particular episode of Truth Shots with Kapil. Come back next time. Till then, see you guys.